Welcome to Spirit Walker with your host, Dr. Jeffrey Pierce, and co-host Cindy Pierce. A true psychic for his entire life, Jeff Pierce will bring you the answers to the questions that you need to know, as well as explore topics that most people are afraid to address. Now, here's Dr. Jeffrey Pierce and co-host Cindy Pierce.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to go back to Bill, and he's going to tell us about what's going on with the Gulf Coast, with the BP oil spill.
Thunder Horse.
Yes, Thunder Horse, and everything's supposed to be fixed, and it's not.
First, about your sponsors, I believe that 99% of all people who work for the U.S. corporations want to preserve this nation. And I believe that your sponsorship will skyrocket because there are only a few bad people at the top. And I really believe that people are going to say, oh, my God, you're trying to help this country. And we need to rally behind you because we're being destroyed by taxation and pollution. And I mean, you know.
But isn't that always true? It's the smallest percentage of people in any kind of group or situation that makes the biggest hoopla?
Yeah, I honestly don't think that most of the vice presidents at Boeing or most of the vice presidents at American Airlines or Monsanto or DuPont want the destruction of this country. I mean, I've known a lot of them. Not that I have any money. I've spent about $100 a week for 2 years doing this, but it's just I've known them. We've gone to prayer breakfast. They don't want this country destroyed. And when they hear what we're trying to do, I really think they're going to say, you know, we don't want FEMA camps. We don't want our children eating human brains. We don't want Minnesota to have minus 20-degree weather for 3 weeks. It hurts the bottom line. I think that most people on this planet, and especially those in private industry, are so... I mean, I really feel that there's going to be a lot of people rallying behind shows like this because they're not going to be able to not to.
Well, and that's the thing. People have to know that there's somewhere they can go to make a difference.
Well, let's take a small gas station. Half their money's going to the government. Half. In fees, regulations. Gas has gone up $1 since Obama took office. Oil has gone from 60 to 90. People are saying, what are our children and grandchildren going to do?
Well, as the oil goes up, your plastic's going to go up, your Tupperware, everything. Plastic comes from oil.
Nobody wants... You know, we've got an $8 trillion economy with $6 trillion, an additional $6 trillion in government spending. It's going to catch up. Something's going to happen, and the people who work for the American...
You're right.
These people who work for private industry don't want to see their companies destroyed. They don't want to see Boeing stopping the production of the 787. They don't want to see Monsanto not producing whatever Monsanto makes. I mean, this is... Well, Monsanto, I think, bought Blackwater, but...
Well, Montana makes cowboys, so let's not go there.
Well, no, I was saying Monsanto, but Montana, but Thunder Horse is a big, big, big pot of oil underneath Mississippi. They've been sucking it dry for years, and it's still at 100,000 PSI plus. Now, what that means is somebody knew that there's a crack from Chicago all the way down into an area that's covered by Eglin Air Force Base test zone, top secret test zone. They make all the top secret bombs there. And somebody last January, or December, I think it was January, cornered the guy who runs Eglin Air Force Base and said, you will allow oil wells in your Air Force Base top secret testing zone. And he says, that's stupid. We test bombs there. And they said, you'll allow it. So somebody sunk three or four oil wells along that crack. And a Hugo submarine from North Korea blew up one of the oil wells and then fired an incendiary torpedo, knowing exactly what they were doing, which caused an underground explosion. And Thunder Horse in the Gulf cracked. And it's cracked all through the Gulf, and there's 5 million gallons of slightly radioactive oil leaking into the Gulf. And it's still leaking. Viking Poseidon shows pictures of this.
Radioactive oil.
Yeah, you put a Geiger counter to it. So, of course, when you make it into gasoline, you're producing radioactive gasoline.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Gasoline's radioactive.
From what I'm seeing psychically, I see the bottom of the ocean in the Gulf underneath where they drilled is starting to collapse in on itself.
Yes, and if like when you're wearing a shirt, you have the two top buttons buttoned and the rest of the shirt's hanging loose.
Right.
Well, if those two top buttons go, which is Chicago area, then the whole Mississippi is going to crack, and a huge, huge, huge pot of methane gas going to blast into the atmosphere, and 2 or 3 trillion gallons of oil, which the government tells us isn't there, is going to cause a tidal wave from Austin all the way down across to South Carolina and probably kill most of the southern states. Now, remember, the southern states are the conservative Christian belt. This is who they want dead.
Well, there's already a methane bubble sitting down there around where they drilled. It was about 20 miles long and 20 miles wide, right? That's what I'm seeing.
It might even be larger than that. And then when it hits the atmosphere, there will, just like you said, there will be dead things everywhere. There will be dead people. There will be bodies. The entire Gulf is almost dead, and it will kill most of the Atlantic. And then we'll have martial law. I mean, this is what they want. If you look at it, they want to manipulate the weather. They want total economic turmoil. They want to try to scare us about terrorist attacks. Oh, these are Al-Qaeda, which means Muslim Brotherhood. They're making us stupid through the water and the air and the TV. And now they're going to start blowing things up from underground to try to kill more Americans. I mean, it's just another government attempt to annihilate a sector of the population.
Population control.
More than that.
I see this country being about 1/3 the size of what it is now when it's all said and done, and I see it being divided by a black Mississippi sludge river going into the Great Lakes and everything else.
It may be. FEMA wrote a plan called Operation Devolution. And then the Secretary of Defense, signed by the President, wrote Con Plan 8010-09. And both of those call for the elimination of the surface population. I mean, that's it. Con Plan 8010, Secretary of Defense, FEMA Operation Devolution. The underground government is in full operation. Map 212 will show you the underground rail system. It's still on the Internet. And they simply want the surface population dead.
All right, so we claim we have the power as the people, but our own government is writing things out, plans to terminate us. This is wonderful.
Well, we're in our own self-formed concentration camps already.
Well, but the question is, we know what's coming. What do we do to stop it? I mean, this is, how can we... You've got some fabulous listeners, and you've got some governors out there who've been watching the TV show, and I'm sure they're listening to this. And they plan to go to what they call the Alice Fund, the Administrative Living Center under Virginia. Now, let me explain what Con Plan 8010 does to the Alice Center. Hot, poisonous gas. If you're a governor, if you're the head of a state highway patrol, if you're the president, if you're Joe Biden, by the way, the threat to Obama on the 3rd and 4th of April includes Biden. They'll put you in the Administrative Living Center. And then, poof, you're dead. They plan to kill the governors and all the doubles. And so maybe as a people, we can realize there's only 200 or 300 people at the top. Maybe, just maybe, we can call on somebody or something to help us. I don't know.
But also on the flip side, those that call and explain all this are also going to be at the top of a list to be watched or picked up. Because one thing they worry about are rally leaders.
Well, I don't intend, and I don't think you intend. You're blind, and I'm pretty well immobilized. I don't think we're going to lead any rallies against the United States or the United States of America. But what we do hold, that I think we're still alive, and I think all of the death threats have failed. What we do hold here, Jeff and Cindy, there's a threat to Obama March 20th to the 23rd and April 3rd to 4th. Now, where did I get that information?
Do I ask?
Yeah, I used to buy it. I used to go out and I used to get the information to preserve the station, and I used to spend every dime I had to do it. And then one day I burned all my contacts and said, God, you want me to know this stuff? You tell me. And I had horrible headaches for months and months. And I kept visually seeing these formulas, black piece of paper with white script, like lambda 2 squared over delta 3 would be poured into my brain. My brain was changed, and I can reach out and look for the threats. And I don't think there's many people like us. And I don't think they want to eliminate that early warning device.
Not if they're in the right mind.
And they may not be. I.e., Governor Schweitzer. You know, there's a threat to Governor Schweitzer's life, Brian Schweitzer, around Easter time of next year. There's a threat to Dave Frudenthal.
He's a governor of which state, Bill?
Montana.
Okay.
And then there's a threat to Dave Frudenthal around the 14th of February of next year.
And what state is he from?
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 Yeah, I'm sorry. The governor of Wyoming, David Frudenthal, 14th February.
Okay.
And then Brian Schweitzer, Easter time, somebody's going to try to shoot him and his family. That's all I'm getting. It's an early warning system. They can protect themselves.
Right.
Operation Bite has been released. Yes, indeed, we did save the president. Not only did the Secret Service yell at me for doing that, it's all over the Internet now. So as time goes on, all of the warnings we've given are supported by documentation. So we've saved countless lives. That means we have the potential to save them a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. I don't know if they want that warning system dead. And I don't know if the people who are giving me this information, God or big blue aliens from space, I call them God, I don't know if they want me dead either. Because they've modified me and you to warn people so we can prepare. And I don't think that would be the dumbest thing in the world to destroy the fire alarm in a building.
The thing I run up against is nobody listens. I predicted Katrina 3 months in advance. I wrote a letter to the New Orleans newspaper. I wrote a letter to the mayor's office. I even put a P.S., you will win re-election. And he did. I met a friend, a New Orleans police officer, retired, on Facebook, and I found out the mayor took himself and his family to Texas a week before Katrina hit, but he didn't tell anybody. The newspaper didn't tell anybody. So afterwards I contacted the newspaper. They said, what letter? I never got to speak to the mayor because they'd never put me through.
No.
So this is where I beat my head against the wall. Nobody's going to listen. But after the fact, they're like, oh, you were right. I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. I want it to change. This is why I opened my mouth.
They have put a box. Somebody has put a box around me. And I think I know who it is. It's our federated government. There's a sector within the CIA who has put a box around me and destroyed everything about the All Day Live show. So there's nothing on the Internet anymore about All Day Live. And yet, Democracy Now! Plays with 2 million listeners, and the All Day Live show comes on, and the speed time decreases from 111 or 113 milliseconds to 1,600 milliseconds, which means we have somewhere between 20 and 30 million listeners. And when I say things like, Obama, man up, I hear it on Rush Limbaugh 3 days later. And when I say, you can search the Internet on google.uk or google.ru, I turn on Rush 3 days later and he has an entire show on it.
So somebody's listening?
Everybody's listening. I say something and it's covered in the Russian legislative body.
Awesome. We're going to come back after the break and wrap this show up. Stay with us.